The quantum breach alarm shrieked across Earth's lunar defense station. Lieutenant Maya Patel's hands flew over her console, sweat beading on her forehead, despite the recycled air's chill. "Contact in T-minus 30 seconds, she announced. "Configuration matches the probe from last month." Admiral Chen Wei gripped the command rail, knuckles white. "All stations, weapons free. Remember, we get one shot at surprise." Space itself seemed to tear as 12 crystalline vessels emerged from hyperspace, their hulls shimmering with energies that hurt to perceive directly. The lead ship, a behemoth twice the size of humanity's largest carrier, broadcast on all frequencies. Primitive species designation Earth-001. The transmission boomed. "The ruling conclave claims this system. Prepare tribute of rare elements and biological specimens. Compliance ensures survival. Resistance ensures." The moon's dark side erupted. Project Longshot, humanity's desperate gambit, fired its single shot. A tungsten rod the size of a school bus, accelerated to 0.3 C by a magnetic rail system that had consumed half of Earth's power output to charge, streaked through the void. The Conclave flagship's shields, designed for energy weapons, offered no more resistance than tissue paper. Commander Zix Nora barely had time to register the primitive kinetic weapon before her bridge vaporized. The rod punched through the ship's core, emerged from the opposite side, and continued into deep space, trailing molten metal and frozen atmosphere. "Holy shit," Patel breathed. "We actually..." "Focus," Chen Wei barked. "Execute kamikaze protocol." Across the Earth fleet, volunteers sealed their helmets. These weren't warships. Humanity had none. They were mining vessels, cargo haulers, and research ships, their holds packed with nuclear warheads instead of ore. Captain Ahmed Singh powered up the engines of the Mumbai Express, his voice steady over comms. "For Earth, see you on the other side." The human ships accelerated, ignoring the Conclave's frantic energy beams. 3 exploded before reaching their targets, but 9 made it through. The Express slammed into a Conclave cruiser at 40,000 kilometers per hour. The nuclear payload detonated on impact, creating a miniature sun that consumed both vessels. Chaos erupted. The Conclave formation, drilled for millennia of orderly combat, shattered as human ships played chicken with fusion reactors. Meanwhile, Paddle led her boarding team through the breach in the crippled flagship. The first Conclave soldier they encountered stood 3 meters tall, its 4 arms ending in crystalline blades. It moved with liquid grace, expecting to slaughter primitives. Paddle put 12 rounds of depleted uranium through its head. Purple blood painted the corridor. "Take everything that isn't nailed down," she ordered. "We got 3 minutes before their backup arrives." Outside, Zix Nora watched her perfect fleet burn. In 10,000 years of tribute collections, she'd never lost a single ship. Now, a third of her command was debris. These primitives, these humans, fought like rabid animals. No tactics, no honor, just pure destructive will. "Commander," her subordinate warbled, "shall we retreat?" "No." Zix Nora's pride burned hotter than her ships. "Glass their cities. Take prisoners for interrogation. The Conclave will know why Earth burns." Patel's team retreated as Conclave reinforcements overwhelmed the human fleet. But as she dove through the airlock, she slapped a microscopic tracker onto the hull. Nobody noticed. Why would they? Primitives didn't have quantum trace technology. Earth's defense crumbled. Cities burned. Millions died. The Conclave took their tribute in blood and tears, departing with holds full of human prisoners. But in Lunar Command, Admiral Chen Wei smiled grimly at the quantum signature pulsing on her screen. The tracker's signal was strong and clear. "Mark their heading," she ordered, "and begin Project Lazarus. They wanted to meet humanity. Let's introduce ourselves properly." The Conclave had won the battle. They had no idea they'd just started a war. The stench hit Captain Maria Volkov first. Decay, fear, and something alien that made her stomach turn. She woke to find herself in a cylindrical cell, transparent walls revealing hundreds of similar tubes stretching into darkness. Her fellow prisoners floated in various stages of consciousness, neural inhibitor collars pulsing blue at their throats. "Welcome to Penn Station 5, a synthesized voice announced. "You are property of the ruling conclave. Resistance decreases feeding privileges." Volkov tested her collar, feeling the warning shock that promised worse if she persisted. Around her, humans stirred. Soldiers, scientists, civilians taken during Earth's burning. Her military instincts cataloged everything. Guard rotations every 2.7 hours, feeding cycles at precise intervals, and most importantly, the overseer's arrogance. The Krishnak guards never looked up. Back on Earth, Dr. James Rivera stared at the salvaged conclave mural interface, his lab coat stained with coffee and desperation. Humanity had 6 months, maybe less, before the conclave returned to finish what they'd started. "Try it again," President Elizabeth Hoffman ordered, her face gaunt from sleepless nights. "We need to understand their technology." Rivera placed the alien device against his temple. Pain exploded through his skull, then clarity. The conclave interface expected uniformity, neural patterns locked into rigid hierarchies. But human brains were chaos incarnate, shaped by evolution's random walk rather than genetic engineering. "My God," he whispered, "their security assumes every species thinks alike. But we're not uniform. We're not." He yanked off the device, eyes wide. "We can hack their entire network. Every human brain is a skeleton key." In Penn Station 5, Volkov enacted her plan. During the gladiatorial entertainment sessions where prisoners fought for the overseer's amusement, she deliberately took a beating from a Morvaki warrior. Purple blood. Her cellmates, carefully collected, streamed from hidden pouches, selling her defeat. The Krishnak overlords clicked their mandibles in satisfaction. Another broken human. They didn't notice her counting their heel strikes, memorizing their breathing patterns, or the micro-tools she'd extracted from the feeding tubes. Pieces small enough to pass for debris, but sharp enough to matter. The next guard rotation brought Overseer Grix, a particularly sadistic Krishnak who enjoyed personally tormenting the primitive mammals. Volkov hummed limp as he approached, playing dead. "Pathetic." Grix chittered, disabling her cell wall. "Your species lacks even the dignity to." Volkov's hand shot out, driving a carved feeding tube fragment through his compound eye. As Grix shrieked, she ripped his neural whip free and pressed it against the command console. Her brain, beautiful, chaotic, human, overwhelmed the security protocols. Every cell in the block opened simultaneously. "No killing yet," she commanded the surge of prisoners. "I need 10 minutes." Racing to the overseer's station, Volkov jammed Grix's severed claw into the bioscanner. The conclave's military database unfurled before her. Fleet positions, weapon specifications, slave world locations. Her collar shocked her repeatedly as she worked, each pulse stronger than the last. Blood ran from her nose as she uploaded everything to a hidden transmitter, praying Patel's tracker was still broadcasting, that Earth was listening. The upload completed just as reinforcements arrived. Plasma fire filled the air. Prisoners fell screaming. Volkov smiled through blood-stained teeth as a guard's blade found her shoulder. "Revolution successful," she gasped into the transmitter before the Krishnak descended. Light years away, Admiral Chen Wei watched the data stream fill her screens. Alien text auto-translated into tactical gold. The conclave's entire military structure laid bare. "Project Lazarus is go," she announced. "Build the fleet. Train the crews." She turned to Rivera. "How many neural interfaces can you modify?" "Every human brain is a weapon now," he replied. "Give me soldiers who aren't afraid to bleed." In her cell, Volkov endured punishment beyond description. But she'd seen the guard schedules. She knew their weaknesses. The next uprising would not fail. Commander Jake Thompson strapped himself into the captain's chair of the Madman's Gamble, his hand steady despite the tumor pressing against his brainstem. 3 months to live, the doctor said. He'd make them count. Final systems check, he announced to his crew of one. Himself. The ship was humanity's first hybrid vessel. Conclave technology welded to human nuclear weapons with typical human disregard for safety protocols. Its cargo bay held something special. 3,000 micromines, each with a conclave slip drive and a nuclear heart. "Thompson, you beautiful bastard." Admiral Chenway's voice crackled over quantum comms. "You sure about this?" "Already dead, Admiral. Might as well make it memorable." The jump to Kepler Station took 17 hours. Thompson spent them recording messages for his daughters, mixed with technical readings of his brain's interaction with conclave systems. Even dying, he was gathering data. Kepler Station hung in space like a crystalline spider, its docking arms reaching for the trade vessels that fed the conclave war machine. Thompson's emergence triggered every alarm in the sector. "Unidentified vessel," the station broadcast. "Submit to scanning or face." "Remember Earth," Thompson interrupted, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Remember what you took from us. This is Earth vessel Madmen's Gamble, executing Berserker Protocol." He slammed his palm on the release mechanism. 3,000 mines filled from his cargo bay. Their conclave drives scattered them in a perfect sphere. The station's defenders, expecting conventional attack patterns, moved to intercept his ship. Fatal mistake. Thompson's neural implant, Rivera's masterpiece, sent a chaos pattern through the mine network. Each device began randomly jumping through micro-distances, impossible to track or target. The conclave fighters plunged into the expanding cloud, their sophisticated targeting systems overwhelmed by human madness. The first detonation took 3 fighters. The second, a patrol cruiser. Chain reactions followed as nuclear fire consumed ships trying to flee the kill zone. Thompson laughed, tasting copper as blood vessels burst in his eyes. "For my daughters," he whispered, diving the Gamble toward the station's main reactor. Security Commander Vector watched his defense fleet vaporize, his compound eyes unable to process the tactical insanity. No species used such primitive weapons. No species sacrificed ships so willingly. No species. The Gamble punched through the station's shields, Thompson's consciousness merger with his ship's systems turning him into a guided missile. The reactor breach, when it came, turned Kepler Station into a newborn star. Through the chaos, Earth's rescue fleet arrived. Major Maya Patel, promoted and scored from Luna, led gunships through the debris field. "Tracking human life signs in Sector 7, her tactical officer reported. "Prisoner transport, trying to flee." "Light them up." The transport cracked open under railgun fire, its precious cargo of humans spilling into vacuum. Patel's crews worked frantically, recovering survival pods before radiation cooked them. Among the rescued, a barely conscious Maria Volkov, her body bearing testament to conclave hospitality. Did the data make it through? Volkov gasped as medics worked. Patel gripped her hand. "Every bite. Thompson bought us the time we needed." In Conclave Central Command, the footage played on repeat. Sovereign Praetor Vexulon watched Thompson's final transmission. The human was singing something called opera as he died, his vitals showing impossible neural activity. "Analysis," Vexulon demanded. Lesser Praetor Theros responded carefully. "The humans appear to enjoy this. Their neural patterns suggest positive feedback from self-destruction. They've weaponized martyrdom. Impossible. No sentient species. The evidence suggests otherwise, Sovereign. We may have miscalculated." Vexulon's chittering laugh held no humor. "Miscalculated. They turned a dying male into a system killer. They used our own technology to create chaos weapons. What else have we miscalculated about these primitives?" The answer would come sooner than he thought. Earth's factories ran day and night, building a fleet around humanity's greatest strength, their willingness to flip the table when losing the game. The Berserker Protocol was just the beginning. The message spread like wildfire through quantum channels, reaching every enslaved world in Conclave space. A simple video. Humans killing Krishnak guards, Kepler station becoming a sun, and Maria Volkov's voice cutting through millennia of fear. They bleed. They die. Here's how. On Quellos Prime, Elder Zaktin's electric blue tendrils trembled as he watched human tactical data scroll across stolen screens. His species had served the Conclave for 8,000 years, their natural bioelectricity harvested for weapons. But these humans, these magnificent madmen, had shown the impossible. "Gather the storm singers," he commanded. "It's time." Sovereign Praetor Vexulon stood before his war council, his ancient carapace gleaming under bioluminescent displays showing 24 worlds in revolt. The human virus was spreading faster than his fleets could respond. 15 systems in open rebellion, reported Fleet Marshal Kovacs. The Quellans fried our garrison by overloading their own neural networks. The Morvaki are using industrial equipment as weapons. And the Zenthrans. She paused, struggling with the concept. They're performing suicide attacks. Like the humans. Enough. Vexulon's decision came swiftly. Assemble the Grand Armada. Every ship, every warrior. We crush Earth before this cancer spreads further. But assembling 50,000 vessels took time. Time the virus used to mutate and spread. Earth monitored everything through Volkov's stolen data, their quantum computers predicting conclave movements with uncanny accuracy. President Hoffman played her cards carefully. "Let them come," she told her war council. "Earth is ready." The Grand Armada emerged from hyperspace expecting to face a defended but primitive world. Instead, they found empty space and a single broadcast beacon. Admiral Chen Wei's message played on loop. "Welcome to our grave. You're just in time for the funeral." Vexulon's tactical display screamed warnings. Jupiter's massive form loomed ahead, but something was wrong. The gas giant's magnetosphere was impossibly strong, pulsing with artificial rhythms. Human ships, tiny specks against the planet's bulk, fled toward it like minnows seeking shelter. "Primitive deception," Vexulon sneered. "All ships advance. Destroy those cowards." The Armada pursued, their formations perfect, their weapons charging. They passed Io, Europa, Ganymede, each moon strangely quiet. Too quiet. Then Jupiter responded. Dr. Rivera's masterwork, Project Zeus, activated. 3 months of work, every nuclear reactor on Earth feeding power through quantum entanglement to massive generators buried in Jupiter's moons. The planet's natural magnetosphere became a weapon, amplified beyond comprehension. The first wave hit like God's own hammer. Conclave shields, designed for energy weapons, couldn't handle raw magnetic force. Ships spun wildly, their navigation systems screaming as Jupiter's gravity well became a maelstrom. The Great Red Storm, now a focusing lens for magnetic hell, began pulling vessels into its depths. "Retreat," Vexulon screamed, watching his dreadnought's hull buckle. "All ships retreat." But Chen Wei wasn't finished. "Execute Callisto Drop." The ice moon cracked open, revealing humanity's nuclear arsenal. 10,000 warheads riding conclave slip drives, programmed with Thompson's chaos patterns. They scattered through the Armada's retreat path like lethal confetti. Vexulon's bridge exploded in purple flames. Through the smoke, he saw his Grand Armada becoming a constellation of nuclear stars. A third of his force, gone. Another third trapped in Jupiter's pull. The rest scattered, their formations shattered, their morale broken. On Earth, celebrations mixed with grim preparation. They'd bloodied the Conclave's nose, but the war was far from over. "Signal our allies," Hoffman commanded. "Every rebel world, every resistance cell. Time for Phase 2. In the wreckage of his flagship, Vexulon received reports that made his chitinous skin crawl. The Quellans had taken 3 systems. The Morvaki controlled vital shipping lanes. And the humans, those impossible, insane humans, were broadcasting instructions for building nuclear weapons to every enslaved species. The virus had evolved beyond containment. The Conclave's greatest weapon, fear, was breaking. Sovereign. Kovacs awaited orders, her compound eyes reflecting the burning fleet. Activate the old weapons, Vexilon commanded. The planet killers. If we cannot rule the galaxy. He didn't finish. They all knew what came next. Captain Maya Patel materialized in the Conclave supply depot like a nightmare made flesh. Her ghost team, 12 humans augmented with stolen Conclave tech, moved with inhuman precision. No alarms sounded. The Krishnak guards didn't scream. They simply died, neural disruptors turning their brains to jelly before they could blink. Paint it, Patel ordered. Her team worked quickly, spraying human symbols across every surface. A clenched fist, a screaming skull, the coordinates of Earth with a simple message. We're coming. They left the depot intact, its supplies untouched. The psychological damage would far exceed any material loss. Across the galaxy, ghost teams struck without pattern or mercy. A Conclave admiral woke to find his entire bridge crew dead, human music playing on repeat. A military academy discovered their instructors crucified with their own neural whips. Each attack was precisely calculated to inspire maximum terror while leaving infrastructure operational. The message was clear. We can reach you anywhere. Death travels on human wings. In Earth's command center, President Hoffman reviewed casualty reports with cold satisfaction. How many teams are operational? 47, Chenwei replied, with more graduating every week. Rivera's augmentation process has a 60% survival rate. Acceptable losses. What about Operation Crescendo? Chenwei's smile was sharp. Alex Thompson is ready. Alex, Jake Thompson's younger brother, had volunteered the day after Kepler Station. Unlike Jake's terminal diagnosis, Alex was perfectly healthy. He'd chosen this. Broadcast begins in 10 minutes. Alex announced from the bridge of his captured Conclave dreadnought. His crew, 30 humans who'd survived Rivera's most extreme augmentations, prepared their instruments. Actual instruments. Violins, cellos, a grand piano somehow bolted to the deck. The target, Vexmall, the Conclave's primary military coordination hub. 3 million personnel. The nexus of their war effort. Alex's ship dropped from hyperspace playing Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries on all channels. The defending fleet, already rattled by ghost team strikes, hesitated at the bizarre audio assault. That hesitation cost them everything. The dreadnought plowed through their formation, its Conclave shields tanking hits while Alex's orchestra played. The music wasn't random. Rivera had discovered certain frequencies interfered with Conclave neural processes. Their reaction time slowed. Their coordination faltered. Second movement. Alex commanded, his hands dancing over weapons controls in time with the music. The hub's defensive platforms exploded in sequence, each detonation timed to the orchestral crescents. It was destruction as performance art, death as symphony. The Conclave defenders broke, fleeing from an enemy that turned genocide into gallery showing. Final. Alex whispered, aiming for the hub's central core. The dreadnought accelerated, the orchestra playing faster, wilder. Alex sang along, off-key but enthusiastic, as 3 billion tons of alien technology became his percussion section. The hub cracked like an egg, its death witnessed by billions across Conclave space. But Alex didn't die. At the last second, his crew ejected in modified escape pods, still playing their instruments as they flew through the debris field. Human rescue ships collected them like party favors. The psychological impact was devastating. The Conclave's slave species began calling humans the nightmare species, beings who laughed at death, who made art from annihilation. Recruitment for rebel forces quadrupled overnight. Lesser Praetor Theros studied human brain scans with growing horror. They're not insane, he reported to Vexilon. This is evolution. They've been killing each other for millennia, perfecting warfare as entertainment. We're not fighting soldiers. We're fighting artists who paint in blood. Impossible, Vexulon rasped, but doubt crept through his voice. The evidence is conclusive. They enjoy this. Each death makes them more creative. They're using our own psychology against us, turning fear into a weapon we can't counter because we don't understand joy in destruction. On Earth, Hoffman received updates from across the galaxy. Ghost teams had struck 17 systems in the last hour alone. Rebel forces controlled 30% of Conclave space, and the ancient planet killer weapons Vexulon had activated. Rivera smiled at his latest discovery. Their targeting systems use quantum entanglement, same as their ships, and we've been practicing chaos patterns for months now. The nightmare was spreading, and the Conclave's own weapons would soon join the dance. Lesser Praetor Thuros stood in the sacred archive, his 6 eyes scanning data that shattered 50,000 years of Conclave doctrine. Around him, holographic displays showed human history, a blood-soaked tapestry of warfare that made the Conclave's conquests look civilized. They fight themselves for sport, he muttered, watching footage of something called MMA. They simulate warfare in games. Their entertainment involves watching fictional beings die horribly. By the void, their younglings play at killing each other. His assistant, Sub-Praetor Keckle, trembled. Perhaps the data is corrupted. No. Thuros pulled up neural scans from captured humans. Look at the dopamine responses during combat. The endorphin surge when facing death. They've evolved to find warfare pleasurable. We've awakened something that exists to destroy. The emergency session of the Conclave High Council convened in unprecedented secrecy. Vexulon presided, his ancient form showing stress cracks for the first time in millennia. Status report, he commanded. Fleet Marshal Kovacs's compound eyes dimmed. 42 systems in open revolt. Ghost team strikes have crippled morale. Our forces refuse night watches, fearing human shadows. The Rebel Alliance grows hourly. And the planet killers. Operational, but Kovacs hesitated. Targeting malfunctions plagued the fleet. Random firing solutions, impossible vectors. It's as if the weapons are drunk. Thuros stepped forward. Because they are. The humans have infected our quantum targeting with their chaos patterns. Every system using entanglement protocols is compromised. Then we negotiate, suggested Elder Praetor Yixma. Offer terms. Her words died as the chamber's lights flickered. Human opera. Pavarotti's Nessun Dorma echoed through the sacred archive. Impossible. This place was protected by void shields, quantum encryption, guards loyal unto death. Maria Volkov stepped from the shadows, her scarred face smiling. Behind her, 3 ghost team operatives held position, weapons trained on the galaxy's rulers. Negotiate. Volkov laughed. After you burned our cities, took our people, made us entertainment for your sick games. Vexulon's personal guards moved. They died before taking a step, neural disruptors leaving them twitching. How? The Sovereign Praetor whispered. Your archive security assumes logical intrusion attempts, Volkov explained. But humans, we tried everything simultaneously. 27 different hacking methods, from quantum exploitation to, well, one private literally threw himself at the door until something broke. Chaos, remember. She produced a small device, a transmitter hardened against any interference. Earth sends greetings. President Hoffman's hologram materialized. Sovereign Praetor Vexulon, you have 48 hours to order complete conclave withdrawal from all systems. Release every slave. Deactivate all weapons, or we demonstrate what humanity does when truly angry. You dare threaten the conclave. Vexulon's voice cracked. We who ruled before your species crawled from primordial mud. Yes, Hoffman's smile was winter cold. Because we crawled from that mud by killing everything that tried to stop us. We murdered our way to sentience. Genocide is our oldest tradition. And you, You made it personal. The hologram flickered, showing Earth's new fleet. Thousands of ships incorporating Conclave technology twisted through human innovation. Each vessel broadcast its name. Vengeful Bastard, Last Laugh, Darwin's Revenge, from Hell's Heart. Commander Patel, Hoffman continued. Demonstrate Option 2. Video feeds showed the Conclave homework itself. Vexloris, a planet wrapped in void shields, protected by weapons that could crack moons. Untouchable for eons. Until now. A single human ship, the Fool's Gambit, dove toward the shields at impossible velocity. Its pilot, another terminal volunteer, sang drinking songs as reality warped around him. The ship hit the void shields and passed through. The Conclave's ultimate defense relied on predictable physics, but the human ship's core was a miniature black hole wrapped in chaos math, its very existence an insult to natural law. It punched through reality itself, delivering its payload, a quantum virus that turned the planet's defense grid against itself. Vexloris began eating its own defenses, shields turned inward, weapons firing on their own installations. The planet wasn't destroyed. It was made helpless, naked before the universe it had dominated. 47 hours, Hoffman said. Your choice, surrender or annihilation. We've learned to enjoy both. The transmission ended. Volkov and her team vanished like smoke, leaving only painted human skulls on the Archive's sacred walls. Theros broke the silence. They could have killed us all. They chose demonstration over destruction. Perhaps negotiation is possible. Vexulon stared at his homework burning on the display. For the first time in his ancient life, he truly understood fear. The 48 hours passed like a funeral march. Vexulon's silence spoke volumes. The Conclave chose defiance over surrender. Across the galaxy, humanity's response was immediate and absolute. Execute Ragnarok Protocol. Admiral Chen Wei commanded from Earth's war room. The quantum virus sleeping in Conclave systems awakened. Navigation computers turned traitor, sending warships careening into their own space stations. Defense grids identified sister ships as enemies. The mighty Conclave fleet began consuming itself in an orgy of fratricidal fire. On Quellos Prime, Elder Zakton felt the moment arrive. Storm singers, channel the fury. 10 million Quellans linked their bioelectric systems, their combined output funneled through captured Conclave conduits. The occupation force's neural implants overloaded simultaneously, leaving 20,000 Krishnak warriors brain-dead in seconds. The revolution had its first free world. The Morvaki collective moved with mechanical precision. Their mining equipment, redesigned with human-provided schematics, carved through Conclave bunkers like butter. Commander Grex led the assault on Temporal Station 7, his people's natural telepathy coordinating strikes with surgical accuracy. For 8,000 years you harvested our minds, he broadcast to the dying garrison. Now we harvest yours. The Zenthran prophet warriors embraced human tactics with religious fervor. They called it the beautiful death. Suicide runs that took out command ships, infrastructure, entire battle groups. Their hymns mixed with human death metal as they flew their improvised bombs into Conclave targets. But the true horror came from humanity's ghost teams, now numbering in the hundreds. They didn't just kill, they created art from annihilation. Captain Patel's team hit the Conclave's primary cloning facility. Instead of destroying it, they reprogrammed the systems. Every clone warrior now emerged with human neural patterns, turning the Conclave's reinforcements into sleeper agents. The psychological damage, watching your own face, your own species, turn against you, shattered morale faster than any weapon. 70 systems in revolt. Theros reported to an emergency council. The planet killers are firing randomly. 3 of our own worlds are ash. The humans have turned our entire infrastructure against us. Vexulon sat rigid on his command throne, watching feeds of burning worlds, dying fleets, uprising slaves. How many species have joined them? All of them. Ross couldn't hide his despair. Every slave race, even some Conclave members, are defecting, terrified of human retribution. The breaking point came from an unexpected source. Praetor Hemlock, commanding the Conclave's last intact fleet, sent a priority transmission. "I will not die for Vexulan's pride. The 7th Fleet surrenders to human authority. We seek terms." Dominoes fell rapidly. The 4th Fleet mutinied. The 9th self-destructed rather than face ghost teams. Within 6 hours, the Conclave's military might fractured into 1,000 pieces. President Hoffman appeared on every screen in the galaxy, her words carried by the same quantum network humanity had corrupted. "To all free peoples, your chains are broken. To the Conclave remnants, surrender or burn. We offered mercy once. That offer expires in 1 hour." In his throne room, Vexulan watched his empire crumble. 50,000 years of dominance ended not by superior technology or overwhelming force, but by a species that treated warfare as art and death as comedy. "Summon Volkov," he commanded. "Tell the humans, we yield." But the galaxy already burned with revolution's fire. The Quellans declared independence. The Morveki established their collective. The Zenthrans proclaimed a holy crusade against all oppressors. And humanity, they kept their ghost teams active, their fleets ready. The message was clear. We didn't conquer the galaxy. We liberated it. Try to rebuild your empire, and we'll show you horrors that make this look like mercy. The ruling Conclave's death wasn't a single moment, but a cascade of collapses. Each species they'd enslaved now free. Each weapon turned against them. Each system burning with righteous fury. The old order was ash. From it, something new would rise, with humanity as its guardian angel of death. The Great Assembly convened on Neural Station Sigma, rebuilt from the ashes of Conclave tyranny. Representatives from 300 freed species filled the amphitheater, their forms a rainbow of evolutionary diversity. At the center stood the human delegation, deliberately small, President Hoffman, Admiral Chenwei, and a scared Maria Volkov. Sovereign Praetor Vexulan knelt in energy chains, his once mighty carapace cracked and dull. Beside him, the surviving Conclave leadership awaited judgment. Vexulan of the ruling Conclave, Elder Zaktan spoke for the assembly. "You stand accused of crimes spanning 50 millennia. Genocide, enslavement, the harvesting of sentient beings. How do you answer?" The ancient creature raised his head, compound eyes focusing on the human delegation. "Before I answer, I must know. How? How did a species barely spacefaring destroy an empire older than your sun?" Chenwei stepped forward. "You want to understand? Fine. You made 3 mistakes. First, you attacked our home, made it personal. Second, you took our people, letting us learn your weaknesses from inside. Third, and this is the important one, you assumed technological superiority meant victory." She gestured to the assembly. Every species here had something unique. The Quellans, their bioelectricity. The Morvaki, their collective mind. The Zenthrans, their warrior faith. But you never let them weaponize those gifts. You made them slaves instead of allies. "And humans?" Vexulan pressed. Volkov laughed darkly. "We're the species that split atoms to end wars. That turned flying into warfare within a decade. That connected our entire planet with communication networks, then immediately used them to share cat videos and death threats. We don't just adapt. We corrupt everything we touch into a weapon. But most importantly," Hoffman added, "we know when to stop. You conquered for conquest's sake. We fought for freedom." Vexulan's laugh was bitter. "Freedom? You shattered galactic civilization. Billions are dead. What freedom is worth that price?" "All of it," spoke the Morveki representative. "Better to die free than live enslaved." The trial proceeded swiftly. Vexulan and his inner circle faced life imprisonment. Death would be mercy, and humanity had taught the galaxy harder lessons. Lower-ranking Conclave members were offered rehabilitation, their skills needed for reconstruction. Now, Hoffman addressed the assembly to the future. Humanity proposes the Galactic Freedom Coalition. No single species dominates. Decisions by consensus, mutual defense, shared technology, preserved autonomy. And if someone attempts to recreate the Conclave, asked the Zenthran Prophet Prime. Patel, now bearing the title Ghost Commander, stood. Then they meet humanity's children. We're establishing rapid response teams, volunteers from all species, trained in human warfare doctrine. Not conquerors, but guardians. The vote was unanimous. The coalition was born. Later, in private, Chen Wei met with former Commander Zix Nora, now serving the coalition as a military advisor. "Tell me truthfully," Zix Nora asked, "could you have destroyed us completely?" Chen Wei nodded. "Within a year, we had weapons that would make your planet killers look like firecrackers. Antimatter bombs, gray goo, weaponized black holes. Things that would break reality itself. Why didn't you? Because that's the difference between us and you. You confused fear with respect, power with purpose. We fought to end oppression, not to become oppressors." She paused, looking at the stars. "Besides, we learned something from history. Total victory breeds future revenge. Better to leave enemies alive to become allies." Vexulon watched from his cell as the assembly dispersed, each species returning to shape their own destiny. The human delegation was among the last to leave, their ship deliberately small, unassuming. "You dared attack our domain," he whispered to himself, finally understanding. They hadn't just attacked territory or resources. They'd attacked the very concept of dominion itself. And in that moment, he felt something impossible: respect for the species that had destroyed everything he'd built, because they'd chosen to build something better from the ashes. The galaxy turned on, free for the first time in 50,000 years. And in the darkness between stars, human ghost teams maintained their vigil, not as conquerors, but as guardians of the freedom they'd paid for in blood. The ruling conclave was dead. The coalition lived. And somewhere in the void, humanity's children learned the hardest lesson of all: when to wage war and when to wage peace.